Hey, what's up guys, RMV6 here, and welcome back to another video. So this is actually the first Snapcraft video on my channel. I don't know if there's going to be more than this, but if you guys want to see more, just make sure you guys tell me in the comments. And today we're going to be going over 10 Snapcraft prison tips that you need to know to get better at prison. They're not just going to be PvP tips, there's going to be, tips how to make money, just generic tips on the server. And the last 6 are going to be about PvP, and the first 4 being, how to make money. But yeah, so before we get into this video, I just want to give a shout out to my boy Banana Boat Dingus with all with the supportive comments recently on my videos. So major shout out to him. And yeah, so let's get right into the tips. Okay, so the first tip that we're going to be going over is how to G-pick correctly, or more specifically, what to and what to not do while you're G-picking. So basically when you're G-picking, you want to go down to the front of the mine. A reset mine is always better, but there's someone else G-picking right now. This is Prestige 1, so I mean there's a lot of people in this mine. But basically, you're going to take your G-pick, turn off fly mode, and you're going to mine down and outwards at the same time while spamming sprint. This is the fastest method for G-picking. You don't want to go up to the top like this. Let me go up to the top real quick. You don't want to go up to the top, enable fly, and start flying around like this for a few reasons. One, this uses way more durability than if you disable fly and you do it the other way I just showed you. I don't know why it uses more durability, it just does. I've done tests on it. It does use more durability, just trust me when I say that. If you don't believe me, you can go try it for yourself, but it does use more durability if you fly around like this. And second, it fills up faster if you go and you disable fly and you start mining and you dig down like this. So also, you don't want to dig all the way to the bottom because that'll make it impossible to slice. Because you gotta remember, when you're G-picking, you gotta slice every 7 minutes anyway. So if I did it in fast motion here, I would make sure I have warp prestige 1. So when I press T or your chat and you press up arrow is right there, so you can teleport to the start of the mine. And basically when you're here, you're gonna jump in the mine, look downwards and outwards like this, start spamming your sprint keybind, and move your mouse in little circles like this. And you can like go to the side, you can go to the left, right, you can even turn back if you want, but you just have to make sure that you're aiming down. And when the mine resets, that's also good. You can just sell the villager if you're a boss, and then just keep doing that. You want to keep mining outwards and downwards to make sure that you get the most out of your explosions. And this will fill up your inventory the fastest. Usually your inventory will be full in about 13 seconds if you're doing it correctly. So if I do this, then you will also get like 12 to 13 mil per cell if you're in Prestige 1, which can actually get like 50 bill in like 20 hours. So if you actually have that much time to grind and you want to get Prestige 2, that's one way to do it. The second thing I'm going to be going over is how to repair your G-pick. So you probably already know that your G-pick breaks extremely fast when you're mining. Like you can break your G-pick pretty easily if you don't pay attention to it. So that's just one thing real quick. Just make sure that you take a look at your durability of your G-pick, every minute or so, just so it doesn't break. Because I've known people who have broken their G-pick by accident, by not paying attention to it. But when you want to repair your G-pick, I would repair it when it's around about 250 durability or so. You want to use tier 1s, tier 2s, and depending on the price, tier 3s. This is because they actually give the most profit when you are G-picking. So tier 1s, 2s, and 3s compared to 4s and 5s, they actually get the most repair per, I don't know how to say it, but let's say that you spent 100 mil on repair tokens. You spent 100 mil on tier 1s, 2s, 3s, 4s, and 5s. The tier 1s and 2s would actually repair your pickaxe the most. So basically, just don't buy tier 4s and 5s if you want to repair your G-pick, because then you're losing a lot of money. So just buy tier 1s, 2s, and I say buy tier 3s if it is under 12 mil per. The third tip that I'm going to give you guys is that there's a few things on the web store that you should never even consider buying. Like, the price for it in-game is just worth nothing, and then the price in the web store is just extremely insane. So, for example, ranks and upgrades, these are fine to buy. Just, boss is worth a lot, but is it worth it? I mean, if you play Snapcraft a lot, yeah. So, ranks, they're all fine. Vanilla and MCMO levels, if you go into here, don't even touch these levels. Please do not buy any of these. That's the biggest waste of money ever. 50 MCMO levels, though, that is good. You can buy that. Next, we have crate keys. Don't even touch any of those either. Don't buy crate keys. Items, God Set's fine. God Pickaxe. If you're gonna get a God Pickaxe, I recommend getting them maxed, but that's up to you. So these are fine. God Sword is fine. God Apples, don't touch this, and everything down here, just don't touch anything from here down. Next we have repair tokens. If you're gonna buy repair tokens, make sure you buy the 25 pack, because the 5 and the 10 are just not worth it for its price. Like 10 tier 5s for almost $8, and there's a big sale right now, so $10 for, or $8 for 10 tier 5 is not worth it. Now we have mob spawners, don't buy any of those, and enchanting tokens, there's a bit of a debate. You could buy these if you want. Personally, I don't buy any of these. I don't buy enchanting tokens because, like, the whole point of enchanting tokens is to enchant something when you could just buy it from the shop when it's already maxed. So I don't really see the point in buying these, but you could buy them if you wanted to. Yeah, so there are a few things in the web store that you should never buy. The fourth tip I'm going to give you guys is kind of weird, but it is a very helpful tip. And it's to remember that especially when you're grinding for something like Prestige 2, 3, or even Free World, you have to remember that it's going to take time. Nothing's going to come in Snapcraft Prison quickly. It's all going to take time, and, like, if you look at your balance and you say, oh, well, I still have 44 built to go, like, I'm never gonna get that. It's just gonna take so long. You're not gonna go anywhere, because you're never gonna want to mine. You're never gonna want to grind for it. So if you plan out how much money you're gonna get per day, even like as small as 2 bill per day, that's only like a few weeks, and then you're at P2. Rather than never wanting to grind, looking at your balance saying, oh, I'm never gonna get there. That's just gonna take so long. That's not the way to look at it, because if you look at it like that, you're never going to get anywhere. So just make sure that when you're setting goals for yourself, 1, make them reasonable, and 2, just know that if anyone, or that everyone who is in Prestige 2, 3, or even Free World had to go through the same thing that you're going through. So if you really want to get Prestige 2, 3, or Free World, just remember that it's going to take time, and you need to plan it out accordingly. Just don't give up on it, because it's a hard grind, but if you do come through and do it, then it is worth it. So yeah. Okay, now we're going to be getting into the PvP tips. The first PvP trick I'm going to be showing you guys is how to run out of PvP. I only recommend running out of PvP if you really need to run. Like, it just makes you look like a runner and a loser if you run. So only run if you're getting, like, ganked, or if you know you're about to die, because otherwise people are just going to make fun of you. So only run if you need to. But how do you do it? So basically, I'm just going to go and grab real quick. If you're in PvP, and let's say you're down here and you are fighting someone, and they call their team, and you get 3v1, now there's 3 people on you, what you want to do is, actually, let me go back in my player vault, get this knockback sword. So I recommend that you carry a knockback 2 sword on you when you're down here. So let's say you're down here and you're getting ganked by a 3v1. You could hit them away with a knockback sword. If you need to, you could bow boost over to the ladder. Now you're over here, they're all the way over there, and it's an easy escape. You just go bow boost around until you're out of combat, and then you can go PH or just leave. So that's one way to do it. That's probably the easiest way, but there are more ways. So let's say you're in PvP again. What you could do, I don't recommend doing this. If you have a G-pick, you could punch bow them away, or if even better, you could knockback sword them away. So then they're over here, and now you have your G-pick, so you can just start mining down like this, just in an unpredictable pattern, so then they can't catch up to you. And this doesn't really work that often, so I really don't recommend running like this, because it doesn't really work. But if you do get off with it, you just want to wait until you're out of combat, and then just do /PH, and then you're free. Tip number 6 is about knowing what kind of weapon you should use when you're trying to quickie someone. Basically, it comes down to how much extra damage you have in slash axes. So, I have a lot of axes levels, but you can see here that the axe mastery caps out at 4 bonus damage. And if you take a sharpness 6 axe and you add the 13.5 attack damage, that equals 17.5 attack damage with your axe. Compared to a sword with 15.75 attack damage, you can see that the axe actually does more damage when you are hitting someone if you have enough axes levels. If your axes level is not that high and your damage is below 2, then it is recommended that you use a sword when you're trying to quickie someone, because it does more damage. And yeah, when you're trying to quickie someone, you're trying to kill them before they can use a grapple. So really, if you have more than 4 damage, use an axe, and if you have less than 4 or less than 2, you want to use a sword, primarily sharpness 7 sword, and if you're using an axe, just make sure it has sharpness 6. Also, don't forget that you should use a strength potion, and then you should be good. The next tip is about how to manage your armor and make sure that your armor doesn't break, meaning you either lose a bunch of money from your G-set breaking or you die because you don't have protection. Basically, if you are in a G-set, you want to make sure that you are bringing mostly tier 5 repair tokens. Now, I'm a little bit lacking on tier 5s right now, but I have a lot of tier 4s. But you really do only want to bring tier 5s. I'm just bringing tier 4s right now, but I would be bringing only tier 5s just for the sake of this video. I just want to look like I have a lot of stuff. Don't judge. But yeah, normally if you were wearing a G-set, you would want to bring tier 5s, and you want to make sure, if you're using Bad Lion, or if you're using Lunar, or really anything that has armor status, make sure that you're checking your armor status often. If you're just using vanilla Minecraft and you don't have armor status, just make sure that, every minute or so you check on your armor. Actually, probably every 30 seconds, probably after every time you eat a gapple, you just want to take a quick check on your armor. And if you see that your armor is breaking, if you see the durability bar, you want to take your repair token and add it to the armor piece. And make sure that you do the helmet first, then the boots, then the leggings, then the chest plate, in that order, so then none of your armor pieces break. But if you are wearing a G-set, just prepare to spend a lot of money, because G-sets break kind of quick, so you're using like 400 mil every 5 minutes to repair your armor, so just be ready for that. It's very expensive. But if you're in protection 4, Unbreaking 3, remember that 1 set equals 5 gapples. So let's say I have 1 set in my inventory. So let me go in PV7 here. Let's say I have 1 set in my inventory. So a boss helmet, or just P4U3 helmet, chest plate, leggings, boots. I would have 5 gapples, because 1 set equals 5 gapples. So if I had 1 set and 2 extra sets, that would be 15 gapples, because that's 3 sets, and 1 set is 5 gapples, so 3 times 5 is 15. You just want to remember that ratio, because if you're bringing more gapples, then your armor is going to break first, and you're going to have like leftover gapples just for your opponent to take when you die, or if you die. And if you have extra sets, it's going to be the opposite. You're going to run out of gapples, and you're going to lose armor. So really just remember that it is 5 to 1, or 5 to 1 set, really. That's the ratio to gapples to P4U3 sets. Next, we're going to talk about MCMMO, primarily MCMMO axes. Yeah, so people think in this server that the more axes you have, the better. And, that's true for the most part. The more axes that you have, the better you're going to be in PvP. The more damage to armor you're going to do, the longer your ability is going to last, etc. But that's really not the case. So if you are familiar with this, with the axes system, a last reset, you would know that the more axes you had, the more damage to armor you have. And that applies to this reset, but in a different way. So, for example, last reset, I think it was like 20 axes levels equals 1 bonus damage to armor. So basically, you could have 10,000 axes levels and be an unstoppable god who can like 3-shot a G-set. It really wouldn't matter, because you would have like 400% damage to armor. You would just be unstoppable. Now they kind of nerfed axes, and they made it so the more axes you have, the slower this number right here increases. So the more axes that you have, the more axes that you gain, the less this number is going to increase. So right now I have about 3,000 axes, and I deal about 60 bonus damage to armor. Now Ryan France, on the other hand, if I go on empty top axes, he's got about 6,000, and he does about 110% damage. Now actually no, he does like 90, I think. I don't know, I'll have to ask him. But anyway, axes increase a lot less than before. So the more axes you have, the more axes that you get, the less damage to armor you're going to be doing. So like the less damage to armor that number is going to increase by. I don't know if that made any sense, but like one final example I'll give is, let's say you have 100 axes and then you add 100 more. You're gonna get a lot more bonus damage to armor than if you have 6,000 and you add 1,000. I don't know why, it just works like that. It just prevents people from buying like 20,000 axes and just being OP like last reset. So I would stop around 4,000 axes. It's really not worth it. It's really not worth A, your money, and B, it's really not that much of a difference in PvP. I mean, it's like double the damage to armor, but still, I don't know if that's worth all the money it costs. Tip number 9, and it's an important one, is when you're in PvP and you need to eat a gapple, do not jump up and down like this. Just make sure that when you want to eat a gapple, I mean, you could take out your knockback sword, hit him once, eat a gapple. But if you are in a situation where you have a lot of people like rushing to you at once, do not jump up and down like this. Even in a 1v1, don't jump up and down like this. And there's a reason. And it's an annoying reason, and it's actually a bug, and people usually refer to it as the gapple glitch. When you jump up and down and eat a gapple at the same time, it causes the gapple glitch. Basically, that means it can take up to like 10 seconds to eat a gapple if you're jumping up and down at the same time. So if you're standing on the ground, not moving, yes, I mean God. If you're standing on the ground, not moving, and you eat a gapple, it's just you just eat it normally. But if you're jumping up and down, the person's hitting you. I don't know why it's a glitch, but it takes like 7 seconds to eat a gapple. So just remember, when you're in PvP and you need to eat a gapple, you need to stay on the ground and eat a gapple. It would be ideal if you could hit them away with a knockback sword or with a bow or something, so then they can't hit you while you're eating, and then it'll reduce the chance for a gapple glitch even less, or reduce the chance even more. But yeah, that's just one way you could do it. Also, remember, if you have Badlion, Lunar, whatever, turn on potion status, so then when you eat a gapple, you can see, let me just eat one, I don't even care. So when you eat a gapple, you can see, like right here, it says regeneration, and it tells you how much time is left. So just check that often if you have that, because you don't want to get quick eat, and you don't want to lose all your stuff. That's just not the right way to die. That's just an embarrassing way to die, so don't get quick eat. Just check on your regeneration often, and don't jump up and down when you eat a gapple. The final tip in this video is not required, and it might seem not like a tip, but it's going to help your PvP experience a lot, and trust me, I speak from experience when I say this. It's important that if you want to be really good at not dying in PvP in prison, or really in any server, if you want to get better at PvP, I recommend using any kind of client like Badlion or Lunar. If I turn on F1 here, you can see I have, all these things like armor status, potion status, FPS counters and CPS counters, which are cool. I even have a stopwatch. You can see on the right I have a stopwatch there. So like, for example, when I'm waiting I just stopped it on exactly 12,700. That is really weird. But anyway, I have a stopwatch there. Like, for example, if I'm repairing and I'm waiting for the 45-second cooldown, I can just stop the stopwatch and start it again like that, and then I know when I can repair my armor. So it's not required, but if you have Badlion, I use Badlion. Or if you have Lunar or something, I recommend getting it, because I recommend like all of these things. They're really cool, and they're gonna help you not get quickied, because you can see how much health your armor has. And I think that's one thing I forgot to mention in the other tips is make sure you check your armor a lot, because if your armor starts to break and you don't repair it right away, then your set is going to break if you're in a G set. So yeah, Badlion really helps with that. Luna really helps with that. Whatever. I don't really know what you guys use. I just use Badlion. But I do recommend it because it's going to help your PvP experience a lot. So yeah, and that's it for the tips. So if you guys enjoyed this video and you found it helpful, make sure that you leave a like and maybe even consider subscribing. And yeah, with that all said, I'm just going to give my daily shout out to Ricky G, back at it again. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video.